First things first, I want to say big congratulations to Super Eagles defender Ola Aina, who has signed a new contract with Nottingham Forest FC in the English Premier League. Ola Aina has extended his stay at Nottingham Forest until 2028. Of course, Ola Aina was the reported subject of different clubs' interests. You know, we had teams like Liverpool, we had teams like Chelsea, we had teams like Juventus that were all reportedly interested in online or services, but he has committed his future to Nottingham Forest. 3 more years. Of course, Forest initially was this team when they came up that people tipped to go down. And in the first season, they nearly went down. You know, we have to see a lot of thanks to Taiwo Awoni for keeping them up in that year. And then this past season, they qualified for Europe. They only made the Conference League, but for a very large part of the season, they were in the top four. It looked like they would qualify for the Champions League, maybe the Europa League. You know, their end of season form wasn't the best, but still, for Nottingham Forest to qualify for Europe is a massive achievement for them. And Ola, of course, was a very, very key part of their success in this past season. So it is no surprise that they wanted to renew him. It is no surprise that they wanted to keep him at the club for his prime years. But of course, because of the different transfer rumors and transfer news that we're hearing around the line, a lot of us must have expected or thought that he would make a transfer. That has not happened. As far as the decision to stay at Nottingham Forest, you know, I think it's a good one. Would I have liked to see him play at Liverpool and replace Trent Alexander-Arnold? Yes. Would I have liked to see him play at any of the bigger clubs in the Premier League or in the world? Yes, of course, I would have. But you know the saying that sometimes the grass is not always greener. I think Ola Aina is at a very crucial stage in his career where he needs to be playing football week in, week out because he is playing his best football. And a move to a big team would be nice. But if the move to the big team doesn't give him the same opportunity that playing at Nottingham Forest would give him, then is it necessarily the right move for him? Nottingham Forest, when he's fit, you know that he's almost guaranteed to play as long as he keeps his performances up. You know that they love him, they appreciate him at the club because of what he's done already. He has a family. The camaraderie between the Nottingham Forest players is incredible. He's building a social brand for himself as well with all his Snapchat stories and everything that he does on social media throughout the season. He's comfortable. Now, I know some people would say, hey, it's good to leave your comfort zone. I would also say, yes, it's good to leave your comfort zone sometimes. But Ola Aina has already done that. Ola Aina has played in Torino. He has played in Italy. And then now he's back in England. He's back in a land where he knows. He's back in a league where he came up but couldn't quite cut it at the start and is now doing amazing things. So I completely understand his decision to stay. And I'm sure that because of all the teams that were interested in the services, Nottingham Forest would have sweetened the pot by giving him a little bit of extra something, like, okay, we'll add something to your salary just to make sure that you're excited to stay with us and you remain motivated. Because at the end of the day, who work must chop. So I'm pretty sure that the contract renewal would have come with a pay rise. With all those things, I can understand completely why Ola Aina would make a decision to stay at Nottingham Forest. And I think that it is one that in the long term, he can look back on and say was the right decision for him. Of course, it's football, it's life. Anything can happen on any given day. But I think for the most part, the risk associated with this decision is very low. And Ola Aina will probably be happy about the decision that he's made. He's already resumed preseason training. He's all smiles. It's a club that he's enjoying his time at. They love him there. He has a lot of friends. I think it would be very fine. I personally am fine with the decision. I think it's a good decision that he has made. And I expect him to continue doing what he was doing last season at Tottenham Forest. Maybe this season they can qualify for the Europa League, maybe even the Champions League. Even though the Premier League is probably going to be tougher this next year, but it's a big one. It's a big one. I'm happy for Ola. He's one of the nice guys of Nigerian football. Nice guy in football in general. One of the better players that we have right now. Happy to see him playing for a team that is doing well in the English Premier League and not a relegation threatening team. Hopefully they don't go back there, but not a relegation threatening team. Not a struggling team in some random league. Playing in a top league, playing for a good team, and long may it continue. Long, long, long may it continue. Adedotun, shout out Adedotun, he's a member of the channel. He says, don't forget that they have won the Champions League twice as well. Talking about Nottingham Forest. Yes, I mean, historically, they are a relatively good side, but obviously in recent years, they are still trying to come back to the kind of glory that, you appreciate with them in the past, like winning the UEFA Champions League. But a good one as far as I'm concerned. Ola Aina remains at Nottingham Forest for another 3 years. Of course, we know that in football, contract terms or contract length does not necessarily mean that he's going to be there for all the 3 years. If somebody comes for him, he can still leave in the future in a year or in 2 years. But we have to see how that goes. We have to see how that goes. Okay, that's that on Ola Aina. Let us get into some talk about transfers. Some Nigerian players have completed moves. I want to say congratulations to Paul Onuachu for completing his move to Trabzonspor. Of course, we've heard for a while now that Onuachu was going to return to Turkey, return to Trabzonspor after his brief stint at Southampton in the English Premier League, and didn't quite go as we would have hoped that it would go. He didn't really get time at the start, and then when he started to get minutes, he started to do quite well. But overall, I think we could all see that the Premier League probably wasn't the place for Paul Onwachu. He was able to live a childhood dream of playing in the English Premier League. So that's something that I'm sure he's going to be proud of. And he'll be able to tell his children that, hey, daddy once played in the Premier League, But it didn't quite work out for him. And he has returned to Trabzonspor. Onwachu is now 30 years old. So he's kind of getting towards the tail end of his football, playing days. And I'm happy for him, man. Onuachu conquered Belgium, conquered Turkey before, went to England, back in Turkey. I expect him to score 15-ish, 20 goals in Turkey, and there's really not much that I can complain about when it comes to that kind of transfer. He's still going to make good money. Turkey, they pay quite well, so he will make like north of 1 million or something in a year. Happy for him. Happy for him. I wish him all the best. I wish him success in the season. And I hope that things really go well for him. Because Onuachu is another one of these players that you just wish him well because he comes across as such a nice guy. Honestly, Onuachu just comes across as such a nice guy. Even though Nigerian fans have berated him and have given him stick for such a long time, you've never heard Onuachu making any comments in the media, insulting people or complaining about it that are criticizing him or vexing in the media about something that somebody said about him. And there's no way you tell me that he has not been seeing all the backlash that has come from fans when he plays for Nigeria. Even when he doesn't play and people just start to insult him. Just when he gets called up and people talk about why he's there, he's never responded. He's never allowed these things get to him. He stays focused, lives his life, plays his football. Very quiet guy, even though he's a giant. And I'm happy for him. I wish him all the very best. I believe that he will continue to do well in Turkey. And I'm looking forward to seeing him. We will be watching the Turkish league. We'll get into more of that in a bit. But you guys know that, fortunately or unfortunately, we will be watching the Turkish league this season. So yes, congratulations to him, Paul Onwachu. We also have another completed transfer. Super Eagles defender Bright Osai Samuel has completed a move to Birmingham City FC in the English Championship, Birmingham City FC. Now, this is not the move that a lot of us were expecting for him. Birmingham City, of course, only just got promoted to the Championship from League One this past season. Barasai Samuel was playing under Jose Mourinho at Fenerbahce in the Turkish Super League. There were a lot of reports about Besiktas wanting him, about other teams across Europe. And he has gone to familiar territory in England, playing in the Championship. Smidlai is not here today, but you guys know how Smidlai is always critical of Nigerian players when they go to these lower leagues, or when they play in the second division. So I cannot really tell you why he made that move. Maybe it was just the familiarity of England. Maybe it was the best offer that he had. Maybe it's just, something that he wanted to do. Maybe it's close to home. I really don't know exactly what it is. But by the time someone has made that move, of course, he joined as a free agent. I don't know, man. Because even when I think of it from a financial point of view, could he not have made as much money or even more money elsewhere? Again, I don't know what's in his contract. But from a fan's point of view, it's not an exciting move. It's just not an exciting move. We want our Nigerian players to be playing in the top clubs, in the top leagues. I don't know if you can argue that Birmingham City is a better club than Fenerbahce or even Besiktas that were rumored to interested in him. So it's a tricky one. It's not my favorite move. I will say that it's not my favorite move. I wish he had maybe gone to a different club. Even if he wanted to play in the championship, I would have liked for him to go to a team that we can realistically on paper expect to be contending for promotion. And I just don't see that with Birmingham. They only just came up. I know that they're trying to invest. Obviously, they have ambition. Birmingham was once upon a time a Premier League side, but it just does not excite me. I really hope that things go well for him. I hope that things go well for the club. It really just does not excite me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but for me, if I could decide for him, if I could help him make a move, Birmingham will probably not even be an option in my head. And I can only wait and watch to see how that one develops and how that one turns out for him. But what can I say? He's a Super Eagles player, he's a Nigerian player. I wish him all the very best. And I hope that things work out in his favor. I really do hope that things work out in his favor. So yes, that's that on Bright Osai Samuel. There's still some more transfers that were concluded over the past week. Some smaller names, with all due respect to them. Emeka Eze completed a move to Korum FK in Turkey. I won't get into too much detail about that, but Emeka Eze, I've interviewed with him in the past. If you want to hear his story, you can go after and watch the video where he spoke about his journey, playing in Turkey for a large part of his career, coming from Nigeria, his struggles in Cameroon, etc. I wish him all the best over there. We also had Xavier Godwin. Xavier Godwin has joined Baniyas SC in the UAE. Xavier Godwin, who played last season for Al Okdud in Saudi Arabia, he's making that move. Still in the Middle East, but he's leaving Saudi Arabia and going to the UAE Pro League. I hope that things work out well for him. He did quite well, decent in Saudi, and then now going to the UAE. Money, 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 money moves. He keeps making his money. He keeps playing in the Middle East. Xavier Gordon, once upon a time, was a good player in the Portuguese league, but of course, his team wasn't the biggest team. And now that he's gone to the Middle East, when you go there, it's hard for you to come back unless you are on all these mighty, mighty salaries that you feel like you've made enough money. And I mean, Xavier Gordon wasn't the biggest name or the biggest star, so I'm sure that he still wants to put something in the bank for his family and for his retirement and the rest of his life. So I wish him all the best, and I hope that everything goes well for him over there in the UAE. I also want to acknowledge and talk about Victor Orakpo. Victor Orakpo, 19-year-old forward Victor Orakpo, has joined Montpellier HSC in the French Ligue 1 on a loan deal. He has joined Montpellier in on a loan deal from OG Cines. Excuse me, Montpellier were relegated, so they are now in the French Ligue 2. Ligue 2. He has joined Montpellier on a loan deal for the entire season from OG Cines. Orakpo, of course, made some appearances for OG Cines last year. Was a teammate of Terry Murphy, but now he has gone to Montpellier, former club of John Utaka, former club of course, most recently, Akko Adams. He's going to wear the number 14 shirt for them. And he's a young player. He's 19 years old. He needs game time. Montpellier have the opportunity to give him that game time. We have an opportunity to see how he plays and to watch him develop, hopefully, into a proper bowler. The guy has some good qualities. He does have some good qualities. And he's one that I think Nigerian fans should watch this next season. And I really hope that it goes well. I think this is a good move for him. Every young player needs the opportunity to shine. And maybe OGC needs just couldn't give him the game time that he needs for his development right now. So this kind of move, it's a good one. It's one that he needs, it's one that he deserves. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how he develops. I like him. Every time that I've watched him, he has shown me little bits of quality. And I want to see him as a key player for Montpellier. Hopefully, he can bring them back up to the French Ligue 1 and have a good season and make a little bit of a name for himself in France. So, yes, that is one to say congratulations, Victor Orakpo, on his move from OG Cines to Montpellier, a season-long loan. Season-long loan. Okay. Was there any other confirmed transfer that I'm missing? Somebody in the chat, let me know if there's anyone that I missed that has been confirmed officially by the clubs. If there's anyone that I missed, please let me know in the chat very quickly before I move on. Did I miss any transfer, guys? Let me know if there's anybody that I need to hail. Oh yes, I missed one. I know that there's one that I missed that I just remembered. Chinon Soofo. Chinon Soofo, striker, has joined FC Baltica in Russia, in the Russian Premier League from Ada in Bulgaria. Chinon Soofo has joined FC Baltica in Russia from Ada in Bulgaria, scored a number of goals for Ada, was one of their key players there, did very well, and has now made his move to Russia, taking his talents to Russia, and hopefully that goes very well for him. I'm wishing him all the best. I know Chinon so personally, so of course I have to support him. I like him. He's going to a bigger league, the Russian Premier League. He's probably going to make more money over there. And I really hope that things go well for him. I hope that things go well for him. Somebody said Moses Simon. We already spoke about Moses Simon last week, but of course, if you don't know, Moses Simon joined Paris FC in the French Ligue 1. So yes, we already spoke about Moses Simon in previous editions. We also have Benjamin Tanimu. Yes, Super Eagles defender. Benjamin Tanimu has joined Maghreb Association Sportive de Fes. Maghreb Association Sportive de Fes in Morocco from Crawley Town in England. Benjamin Tanimu has taken his talents back to Africa, but this time he's going to North Africa, joining Maghreb Association Sportive de Fes. Interesting one. After leaving Nigeria and going to Crawley Town, Tanimu just was not able to cut it in England. He wasn't able to get playing time. Most of the time he wasn't even in team sheet entirely. And then now he's back in Africa, but in Morocco this time. I know that a lot of people felt like he didn't even deserve to be Super Eagles at the time. There were a lot of question marks about him not being able to break into the Crawley Town team. And I think, this move kind of tells you the story of how it has been and the kind of player that he is. I really wish him all the best. Every communication that I've ever had with Benjamin Tanimu has been a good one. Every time I've spoken to him, it has been a good conversation. We don't have any official interview yet. It's mostly been, or not mostly, it's all been off the record. But, you know, eh, I don't know what to say. It's not the most exciting move. It's not the most exciting move, but you have to be happy for him. You have to be happy for him. At least he's going to go somewhere where he's going to play football. North Africa, they tend to pay decent amount of money, so he will make some money as well. And rather than him staying in the English League 2 and not getting any game time, if he can make a name in Morocco, then maybe from there he can move on to greater things in the future. On paper, it's not the most exciting move, but I wish him all the best. And I hope that things go well for him. I will not be watching the Moroccan League. I have to say that, full disclosure. I will be tracking. I will be following. I probably would watch some highlights and game breakdowns, but I will not be watching matches of the Moroccan League. I already watched too many random leagues and random matches. I'm not adding Morocco to my list. Unfortunately, I'm not adding Morocco to my list. But I wish Benjamin Tanimu all the very best as he takes on the challenge of playing in the Moroccan League. I wish him all the very best. Man has not made any official move yet, so Lookman posted a nice picture of him on holiday. There's nothing that we have to talk about there yet. Samuel Chukwueze also has not made any official move, so nothing for us to talk about there quite yet. Okay, with that being said, let me get into some rumors. Let's get into some rumors very quickly. Let's get into some rumors. This man, Tolu Emmanuel Arokodare, is reportedly wanted by Burnley. Burnley FC in the English Premier League. Burnley, who have just come up to the English Premier League, are reportedly interested in signing Tolu Arokodare from KRC Genk, where he is currently playing his football in Belgium. Of course, Arokodare, throughout this summer, we've been hearing all sorts of reports about Arokodare. This team wants him, that team wants him. At this point, it is honestly not easy to know which one is true or not. It's honestly not easy to know which one is true or not. I will tell you the one that I did not believe. I did not believe when they said Bayern Munich wanted him. I spoke about it. If you guys remember the whole drama that happened when I said I didn't think he was ready for Bayern Munich, Arokodare wasn't happy about my comments. He was on my Instagram page making jokes and being upset about it. But I think that Burnley is more up his speed. I think Burnley is more up his speed. I haven't watched Burnley in the past season, so I cannot tell you exactly how they play their football. But historically, Burnley has been a team that likes physical strikers, that likes, strikers with presence. And Arokodare fits that mode. Arokodare is not the best ball player. He's not somebody that's going to dribble around and is going to, do some amazing things with the ball. But he can head and he can score from close range. That's something that he does pretty well and is done in Belgium. And I think it is more up his speed. I think if that's how they still like to play their strikers, then he will fit into their team quite well. I think that it also gives him a chance to start in the English Premier League, not playing for a team with a lot of pressure that he'll probably not start or play that many games. And if he does well and scores maybe 10 goals, who knows? Look at Liam Delap, scored 12 goals for Ipswich and got a move to Chelsea. So if he joins a Burnley and he can score 10 to 15 goals in the league, he could easily be on a move to a bigger team. But then he'll be English league proven, and then more teams will be able to take a chance on him. I don't think that a Real Madrid or a Bayern Munich or a PSG or any of those big teams will come for Arokodare right now. I just don't think so. The Belgian league is good, but the Belgian league is not the toughest league in the world. And Arokodare as a player, as an individual, was not showing exceptional talent in the Belgian league. I watched most of his games this past season. It was good, but he's one of those strikers that you serve him, you serve him, and then he finishes. He doesn't create something out of nothing. Maybe once or twice in all his goals, he did that. But he's the kind of striker that you need to put on a plate for him to finish. And then he finishes quite well from close range. So again, it's hard to know exactly what is true about him because his people have been, let me not say his people, but we've been hearing all sorts of reports in the media about different clubs. For me, this is the first one that I heard that felt very, very realistic. We also previously heard about Fulham potentially being interested in him, which seems like it is possible. But when you consider the fact that Fulham have Raul Jimenez, Fulham have Rodrigo Muniz, who has also been doing quite well as a second choice or sometimes starting in the games. Yeah, like if Arokodare comes, who is he going to bench? Where is he going to fit in? But the Burnley seems more realistic. New team trying to strengthen their squad to potentially stay in the Premier League. And if that does happen, I think it will be a good move for him and a good step for him to take his career in the direction that he wants to. Arokodare is one of those players that kind of acts like he's a bigger star than he actually is. With all due respect to him, I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. And it's a good thing. He carries himself very well. He treats his social media presence very well. He likes to carry himself like he's a superstar already. So this move, if it does happen, is one that can potentially help him to start the steps towards becoming a superstar, and so that his actual stardom can match, the way he carries himself. But I think I'm looking forward to seeing where he ends up. If Arokodare stays in Genk, it will be a little bit disappointing because Belgium, everybody knows that the league there is the developmental league. A player does well, they move on to bigger and better things. So I want him to leave the club. I want him to leave the club. And he likes the English Premier League. He signed with a new agency, CAA base, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, let's see what happens with Tolu Arokodare. Let's see what happens with Arokodare. Let us see what happens with Arokodare. Monsieur Gungbade is a member of the channel. He says not a quality striker, but okay, he's still developing. Okay. That is that on Tolu Alashe. Somebody's asking how old is he? Arokodare is 24 years old. 24 years old. Arokodare is 24 years old. 24 years old. Okay, I have one more rumor to take before we get into Victor Osimhen's conversation. I have one more rumor to take before we get into Victor Osimhen's conversation. The media in Nigeria is reporting that this man, Victor Boniface, is the subject of interest from AC Milan. Victor Boniface, of course, we know had a below par season for Bayer Leverkusen this year, especially after his failed transfer to the Saudi Pro League. Things didn't quite go well for him. Lost his place in the Bayer Leverkusen squad. Even started playing as third fiddle behind even Nathan Teller, who he was ahead of in the pecking order before. Things just did not quite work out for him. He's playing under a new coach this season with Bayer Leverkusen. He's already resumed preseason training. Eric Ten Hag is there. It's been reported that Ten Hag is happy to keep him around, but Bayer Leverkusen are also looking at the fact that they can make some money off of him, and they are willing to let him go if they get the right offer. Now, AC Milan, historically a big club, I will say that, but currently an underperforming club. They are looking for someone to strengthen their side after finishing eighth in the Italian Serie A last season. As far as their forwards are concerned, we know that Tammy Abraham has left the club. So they need some options. They have Noah Okafor, they have Santiago Jimenez, they have Lorenzo Colombo, they have Samuel Chukwueze as their only forwards currently. So adding a player like Victor Boniface to their side could be very interesting for them. It could add a little bit of dynamism to their team. You guys know that I still think that Victor Boniface is a good player, even though, yes, he can be a bit too playful on social media. Yes, he can appear to be too unserious, but I still think that he's a good player. And if he locks in, if he focuses on his football, if he does everything the right way, I think that he can have a big year and a bounce back year 2025, 2026 season. So AC Milan, I think, would be a good, decent move for him. Now, does he want to go to a team that is not playing in Europe? That's the question. Does he want to go to a team that is currently underperforming? That's the question. So we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. If he goes there, he'll team up with his Nigerian brother Samuel Chukwueze. That's unless Samuel Chukwueze makes a move out of AC Milan. We know that, of course, things have not gone quite well for Chukwueze at AC Milan. So it's a very tricky and delicate situation. I'll keep watching that one. I don't know how serious AC Milan's reported interest is. I don't know if it is just a rumor that is not actually true, but that's what the media is saying, and that's why I'm talking about it. Victor Boniface to AC Milan, in my opinion, would be a good move, like a nice 7.5 out of 10 type of move. A move that gives him a chance to bounce back. A team that doesn't play with any pressure because they're not doing quite well right now. The only downside to it is that they don't have European football. And we know that Boniface likes to chop up the Europa League, even though Bayer Leverkusen will be playing in the Champions League. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to happen for him. I don't know if it is going to happen. But if it does happen, I think it will be a good one for him. Not just for Victor Boniface, but also for AC Milan. Because AC Milan don't have a lot of quality. I don't know why AC Milan fans think that they are a force or a team to be reckoned with. AC Milan don't have any quality right now. And they should be begging for Victor Boniface, in fact. They should be begging for a player who has been top scorer in the Europa League, who has led his team to a Bundesliga title in the past. They should be begging for him. So AC Milan and AC Milan fans should not be doing any gra and saying they don't want him. They don't have quality in their team. And Boniface will at least bring some quality. So yes, that's what I think. That's what I think. It will be an interesting one if it does happen. I'm really watching Boniface's situation very closely. I want to see where he ends up. Does he stay and play under Ten Hag? Is Ten Hag going to give him the chance? We know that Patrick Schick has become their first choice. Does Boniface play? Or does he leave and play for a club that he's going to start more and more games? It's one to watch, but I wish him all the very best. I really, really am hoping, I'm praying for a bounce back season. I'm praying for a bounce back season. I'm praying for a bounce back season. I want Victor Boniface to get back to the kind of form that we saw when he was playing in the Europa League final and getting his team to a Bundesliga title, unbeaten in the German Bundesliga. I knew that AC Milan fans would get triggered. But yes, that's what I think. Victor Boniface to AC Milan. Let's hope that happens. Let's see. Watch that space. Let's see what happens.